the transmission, the electric transmission of energy. Now I have the source of the mechanical energy, I convert it into electricity, and our little motor converts it into mechanical rotation. Something else, now I get little shocks. You see, it is nothing else but usual plastic of green. Nevertheless, I don't know whether Francesco is here, or I ask you, I put here a gas discharge tube. I mentioned that the high voltage could give also an electric light. Now, here it is a discharge tube. I put it here instead of the motor. Just a minute, I have to prepare it and to show that electricity can make a light as well. Even up here. Of course, this light is very pale. Therefore, I ask Professor Savini, now is here, to switch off the light. Perhaps it doesn't disturb us. And now I turn it, and it's electricity or not. Oh, it is. So, and let's go on. Oh, it was a practical use of influence machine. It was called Franklinization. It was a special medical treatment. I don't know if it was good or not. Nevertheless, don't forget, electricity in the 19th century, it was something new. And it was a little bit painful. And in addition, it was very expensive. In this case, it must be very successful. And also, it was possible at the end of the 19th century, as I mentioned, to use the influence machine in the X-ray technology. You see, I made such an experiment. It was not absolute because there was no protection against the X-rays. Nevertheless, I made a photo. You see here the influence machine, an X-ray tube, and the object, and under the object was an X-ray film. The object was my dynamo electric lamp. That is my dynamo electric lamp, and I made a photo, but I had to work a lot because the time of exposure was less than 5 minutes. And now I show you my X-ray photo on the lamp. You see, that is the X-ray photo made by and of course the doctors used it. You see here a fluoroscopy by a cryptoscope. It was a closed black box. And at the end of it was a fluorescent screen, so the doctor could see it also if there was not a total darkness. And finally, the last development of such electrostatic machines was the Van de Graaff generator. It is now exhibited in our university in Budapest. It has been built about 1950. for nuclear experiments as the source of high voltage for a particle accelerator. And now here is a little Van de Graaff generator made by Mr. Giralda, and I put it in operation and I try to show you the electrostatic force. So it can accelerate not only the aluminium cups but also particles in the nuclear physics. And it was so that the scientists wanted to convert the low voltage of the powerful batteries into a high voltage, and it made possible the discovery of the electromagnetic induction by Michael Faraday in 1831. It was the device of Faraday looks like a transformer with two coils, but it was supplied by a DC. DC can be transformed, but it was chopped. In the first times it was a mechanical chopper driven by a hand, and later a self-acting electromagnetic chopper looks like an electric bell. It was an instrument from Switzerland, from Klingelfuss, and it is an old circuit diagram from Paris, from the Atelier Ruhmkorff. Ruhmkorff was not just the inventor of the spark coil, but before Ruhmkorff there were other inventors, and they made such spark coils, but the spark length was no more than 1 or 2 millimeters. In 1851, the physicist Fizeau gave an advice to Ruhmkorff to build in a condenser between the contacts of the interrupter, and he could produce first 2 centimeter long sparks, then a year later 3 centimeters, and finally 45 centimeter long sparks. This is a fine spark coil from Ferdinand Ernecker from Germany about 1908. Now let me say that we try here in the museum every year to make a novelty, and perhaps in this year our novelty is partly the corner of electrostatic, partly a big induction coil. It can give such long sparks, and we decided to put it into the big Faraday cage. Now there is a Jacob's ladder. It is a high voltage arc discharge. Then there will be a spark discharge, and perhaps in the future we would like to put there also a Tesla transformer, a high voltage, high frequency discharge to show. And now let me show you this big spark coil. Here is the supply unit on, and here are the artificial lighting. It is nearly a half meter box. Let me continue. And it needed a new technology. Not only the principle of the spark coil, but a new technology. With cylindrical layers, it is too dangerous because between the layers, the potential difference is too high. And therefore, we were built with the secondary coils in form of discs. Like this. They are switched serial. Here is, I repaired this, it was in a very bad condition. my hand such a disc form secondary coil, and here is like this induction coil from Koch and Sterzer, and I made an X-ray photo of this form secondary coil. So here, now I show you the X-ray photo of it. You see here the discs, and it plays up now an important role in the very high voltage AC transformers. So that was the way from the lightning, the high voltage, and the high voltage technology. And the coil was used for practical purposes. For example, Ruhmkorff constructed the very first electric lamp without a flame, without a burning. He supplied by, this was a Ruhmkorff lamp, he supplied by a Ruhmkorff coil, a spark coil, a Geissler tube. Of course, the light of the Geissler tube was very pale because it mostly generates ultraviolet light. Nevertheless, perhaps in the darkness, you can see that it gives a light indeed. Now may I ask you to switch off? And I put my pen here. And you see here a little light. Perhaps you can see a little. Thank you. And please switch on because the other tubes give a stronger light. This is a fluorescent lamp. We use it nowadays because, as I mentioned, the usual Geissler tube gives mostly ultraviolet light, and this white layer, it converts the ultraviolet light into visible light. But now I supply it by this induction coil, and that you can see it. Or even this neon tube, and here I can demonstrate you the difference between the power of an electrostatic machine and an electromagnetic machine, because it is more powerful. Now I switch it. Oh, it is not long enough. I turn. That is the problem of the demonstrations. The wire is not long enough. That's okay. And the other wire here. Process, and I can switch it on. Switch it off, or else. And you see that it is more power. That is the difference between the current of an electrostatic machine and of that of an electromagnet. And let's go on. And it is a picture from the book, from the novel of Jules Verne from 1866. They are divers under the sea, and it was not a science fiction, but it was a Ruhmkorff lamp. An X-ray photo, and such an early X-ray instrument